Katla is a 5-voice polyphonic synthesizer featuring unique voice modes. Each of Katla's 5 voices can be sculpted separately. You can adjust the individual gain, octave and waveform of each voice. You can also activate or deactivate specific voices. These features make it easy to bring simple sequences to life and add massive variance and texture to a simple melody. Katla offers 2 different voice modes, round robin and unison. In round robin mode, voices are triggered sequentially in a rotating pattern. The round robin button cycles through 3 different behaviors: forward, backward, and random. In unison mode, voices are shared across held notes dynamically. Press a single key and all voices will play that note. Adding another key splits the voices, so the first 3 play the low note and the following 2 play the high note. Katla will dynamically adjust the split depending on how many keys are played. The unison button cycles through 3 different behaviors. First, there's unison staccato. In this mode, the envelopes re-trigger on every new note played. With every new key press, you can see a burst of light on all activated voices. Next, we have unison legato mode. In this mode, envelopes are only triggered on the first note of a phrase. To get a new envelope trigger, you must first release all keys before playing again. With both lights illuminated, we enter unison mono mode. This disables polyphony and all 5 voices stack onto a single note. The oscillator slider controls the level of the main oscillator entering the filter. At the halfway point, we get a clean, transparent signal. As we push past 50%, we overdrive the filter input. The signal begins to saturate and distort, adding harmonics to the clean sine wave. Each voice also features a dedicated sub-oscillator. The sub-slider functions identically to the oscillator slider, controlling the drive into the filter. All notes share the same sub-waveform, sine or square, and the same octave drop, either 1 or 2 octaves below the main pitch. The sub-oscillators track individual pitch and level settings of each voice. This means if you change the octave or level of a specific voice, its sub-oscillator follows suit, maintaining their relationship. Each voice is paired with a pink noise generator. The noise generator can be exchanged for an external audio signal, which we will cover later in this video. The noise slider controls the level sent to the filter. The noise path also features a tilt EQ to color the sound. Finally, we have the glide amount. The glide time automatically scales with the size of the interval. Large jumps take longer, while small movements glide more quickly. Katla is equipped with 5 discrete analog filters, 1 for each voice. It's a resonant multimodal filter inspired by a blend of classic MS-20 and the SCM characteristics. In low-pass mode, the filter features a 4-pole design with a 20 dB per octave slope. Adding resonance will drive the signal while keeping the low end intact. In bandpass mode, we engage a unique topology, blending a steep 36 dB per octave bandpass and a gentle 12 dB per octave low pass. Traditionally, a bandpass filter will remove both the low and high end of a signal, allowing for a narrow band of frequencies to pass. In Katla, the bandpass filter mode introduces a slight amount of low-pass signal alongside, resulting in a fuller sound. Sweeping the cutoff in this mode creates a focused nasal scanning effect. Adding resonance creates a squelchy or vocal characteristic as you sweep the filter. By turning the key tracking knob, you spread the 5 filters. Turning it clockwise will open the filter at higher notes, and turning it counterclockwise will open the filter at lower notes. Katla's filters are capable of self-oscillation. With resonance at maximum, the filter produces a pure sine wave, even with no oscillators active. By combining self-oscillation with key tracking, we can tune the filter and turn it into a playable oscillator. To ensure optimal tracking, Katla features a tuning routine which can be engaged by holding the filter type button. While the circuits are designed for high stability, analog components can be sensitive to temperature, which will slightly alter their cutoff point. This routine will go through the filters one by one and make sure they're in tune with the keyboard. You likely won't need to repeat this often, but we recommend running the tuning routine once a day when using the filter as an oscillator. With key tracking at maximum, the filter cutoff now follows the keyboard pitch perfectly. This effectively gives you a new sound source, a pure sine wave generated entirely by the filter circuit. This feature opens up many new possibilities, including tuning the noise generator. The high resonance will isolate specific frequencies within the noise. This creates a whistling or wind-like texture. Katla features 2 stereo effects, a reverb and a CMOS drive. We have 2 dedicated reverb controls, the mix control and the reverb amount. The reverb amount slider is a macro control, while it adjusts several internal parameters simultaneously. It is best understood as controlling the reverb size or decay. At its lowest position, it creates a small, tight room sound. As you increase the slider, the reverb expands, creating a massive, lush space with a longer decay tail. The color slider affects both reverb and distortion. For the reverb, the slider shapes the tone by adjusting multiple internal filters. Pushing the slider up emphasizes the high frequencies, creating a bright, shimmering reflection. Pulling the slider down dampens the high end, creating a darker, underwater-like atmosphere. Following the reverb is a CMOS drive. This is a unique analog distortion circuit built around CMOS inverter chips, components normally used for digital logic. When pushed into their linear region, these MOSFET chips produce an aggressive, asymmetric clipping characteristic that is richer and more dynamic than standard diode distortions. The drive mix slider allows for parallel processing. By blending the dry signal with a distorted signal, you can retain the punch and clarity of your original sound while adding grit and texture underneath. The driver mount slider controls the input gain to the CMOS circuit. Lower levels introduce subtle saturation and warmth. Higher levels push the chip into hard clipping, creating a harmonically rich distortion. The color slider controls a mid-scoop filter in the analog circuitry. Adjusting the slider shifts the frequency of the mid-range dip, drastically changing the timbre of the distortion. Crucially, Katla routes the reverb into the distortion. This means you're distorting the reverb tail itself. As you increase the drive, the reverb tail gets crushed and compressed, creating massive walls of sound. This interaction allows for gritty, industrial atmosphere that can behave very differently from a standard clean reverb. The Katla Parameters are a set of wildcards designed to infuse the synthesizer with unpredictable organic behavior, adding life and movement to your sound. The first 4 parameters generate various forms of pitch instability, while the remaining 4 modulate specific engine components to add movement and character. Moda introduces a random pitch offset with every new key press. This emulates the tuning instability of vintage analog synthesizers. Pushing the slider up increases the maximum detune range. A little goes a long way. Kvika applies slow, gradual pitch fluctuations to each voice independently. This behavior is inspired by the wow modulation found in vintage tape machines. Skjálfti applies faster pitch fluctuations to each voice, reminiscent of the flutter behavior found in vintage tape machines. Gloth produces brief bursts of detuning, similar to the effect of slowing a tape by pressing down on its reel. Aska is the most complex of the Katla parameters. Aska inserts random modulation on per voice volume and filter cutoff, and it also introduces short bursts of noise, resulting in a chaotic and unpredictable sound. Skriða modulates the amp and mod envelopes by randomizing their attack, decay, and release times for each note. To demonstrate, let's set up an arpeggio. Currently, all notes have the same duration. As we raise skriða, the envelope times begin to alter, modulating the sequence. Skriða's behavior is dependent on how you set up the amp envelope. If attack is set to 0, Skriða will only modulate the decay and release. If decay is set to 0, Skriða will modulate the attack and release. If both are set to 0, Skriða will modulate both. Rökkur is Katla's stereo spreader. Raising the slider will pan the voices according to Katla's internal pan logic. The first voice is centered and the remaining voices pan by varying amounts. Rústir is a pair voice wavefolder, a hallmark of West Coast synthesis. Instead of removing harmonics like a filter, it adds them by folding the waveform back onto itself when it exceeds a threshold. This transforms a simple sine wave into a metallic, aggressive timbre. Katla includes 5 discrete amp envelopes. While each voice has its own envelope, they share a common set of controls for attack, decay, sustain, and release. The key track knob allows you to scale the envelope timings across the keyboard. Turning it clockwise will result in higher notes receiving faster, shorter envelopes. Turning it counterclockwise result in lower notes receiving shorter envelopes. Pressing the loop button transforms the envelope into a cycling LFO. In this mode, the envelope cycles through the attack and decay stages repeatedly as long as a key is held. The sustain slider acts as a loop speed modifier. Increasing sustain shortens the loop cycle, making the rhythm faster and shallower. If you release a note before the cycle completes, the loop stops and the envelope moves to the release stage. We can push the cycling into the audio rate territory. With these settings, the envelope cycles at approximately 32 Hz, which is a low C. By adjusting the key track knob, you can tune this modulation to track the keyboard pitch, creating complex AM synthesis textures. At the other extreme, Katla is capable of massive timescales. With the release slider at maximum, the fade-out time is approximately 1 hour, perfect for long drones and evolving soundscapes. Katla offers 5 mod envelopes. They share the same architecture as the amp envelopes and offer the same features, including looping and key tracking. The mod envelope can be routed to 5 destinations: phase distortion, filter cutoff, LFO rate, rökkur, and rústir. Phase distortion blends the phase angle of the waveform to generate new harmonics. Think of it like pulse width modulation, but applicable to a variety of waveforms. Pushing the slider up introduces positive phase distortion. Pushing the slider down inverts the modulation. Katla's modulation matrix features a unique feature called control signal wavefolding. This means that if the modulation pushes a parameter past its maximum limit, it doesn't clip. It bounces back, inverting direction. In the mod envelope, this feature applies to the phase distortion, rökkur, and rústir destination. The filter cutoff destination is a standard bipolar control. Pushing the slider upwards opens the filter, while pressing it down closes it. You can modulate the speed of the LFO by either increasing the rate or decreasing it. Modulating rökkur adds movement to the stereo field. Normally, voice 1 is locked to the center. However, when modulating rökkur, you apply movement to every voice. When key tracking is active, every note is panned independently, creating a swirling, immersive stereo image. As mentioned previously, if a rocker is pushed beyond its maximum limit, the pan direction will reverse. Finally, we can modulate rústir, the wave folder, to create classic West Coast timbral sweeps. Like the others, the rústir control signal folds back on itself, creating complex, shifting harmonics. Katla features 5 independent LFOs, 1 per voice. The LFOs share a single rate knob and a range switch from slow to fast. Even though the LFOs share controls, their rate can be offset using the key track knob. The LFOs can reach audio rate at their maximum setting. Katla offers 5 LFO shapes: sine, sawtooth, reverse sawtooth, square, and volcano. Volcano is a slewed sample and hold that generates 2 random values per cycle, creating smooth, unpredictable drifting. LFOs can modulate phase distortion, filter cutoff, rocker, and rústir. These work identically to the mod envelope. Push the bipolar slider up to add positive modulation and down to add negative. You can also assign LFOs to the stereo effect controls. In Katla's audio path, everything is per voice until it reaches the stereo effects. So here we have 5 LFOs controlling a single stereo reverb. To achieve this, Katla uses a complex formula that compares the LFOs of active voices, combining them into one complex modulation signal. Because key tracking affects LFO speed, playing different notes changes the rate of each individual LFO, shifting their internal relationship. The result is a constantly evolving, non-repetitive texture. Crucially, the order of the voices is shuffled for each destination. This means one voice may dominate modulation for reverb, while another voice dominates the distortion. If multiple destinations are modulated at once, the resulting texture becomes massive. Adding additional voice-specific modulation increases this complexity. Katla's modulation really shines in combining modulation from the LFOs with looping and mod envelopes. By setting the LFO key tracking to positive and the mod envelope key tracking to negative, we can create contrary motion. High notes will have fast LFOs but slow envelopes, while low notes will do the reverse, creating a push and pull effect across the keyboard. Looping the amp envelopes add rhythmic gating to the modulation, increasing movement and complexity. The master section houses the final stage of Katla's signal path. The master level knob controls the volume for both the stereo main and headphone jack outputs. Turning the knob fully counterclockwise until it clicks powers Katla off. The EXT button enables external audio inputs, overriding the pink noise generator. When active, the noise level slider in the mixer section controls the gain of your external audio source. PNL stands for panel mode, sometimes known as manual mode. When active, Katla ignores all stored preset values, and the sound you hear corresponds to the current layout of your front panel. Katla features a clock sync system that works with your DAW or any external MIDI clock. You can enable syncing the amp envelope or the LFO separately. When syncing to a clock source, Katla snaps the modulation timings to the nearest beat division. If no clock is connected, Katla will sync to 120 BPM. Since key tracking is part of the calculation, playing different notes can cause different voices to snap to different rhythmic subdivisions. This allows you to create complex, synchronized polyrhythms that stay in time with your track. Katla includes 24 preset slots and a toggle between full and row presets. Full presets are snapshots of the entire front panel. Katla is shipped with factory presets in every slot. 8 basses and leads, 8 pads, and 8 sound effects. By flipping the preset toggle, you gain access to row presets. Each row contains 8 preset slots that store only the settings for that specific row. This allows you to load, for example, a preset for the Katla Parameters and LFO section while leaving the voices section unchanged. To save a preset, simply hold the desired preset slots until it blinks. By pressing the EXT button, you override the internal pink noise generators with your own external audio source of choice. The external audio source is then routed through Katla's unique signal path, taking advantage of its transformative modulation, filter, effects, and distortion units. Katla is equipped with 5 1/4-inch jack inputs, one for each voice. In this example, we send a stereo signal from an audio interface to inputs 1 and 2. You can blend the external sound with Katla's internal voices, driving them together through the audio path, enabling interactions between the two sources. To prevent audio dropouts, Katla will distribute the connected external source to any unconnected inputs to its right. When connected to a stereo source, Katla distributes the signal according to Rucker's pan logic. Another use case for external processing is to split Katla's MIDI output to 5 channels. Katla can output MIDI information for each voice separately, allowing you to control 5 external channels. These channels are then routed into the external input of each corresponding voice. In this example, Katla's MIDI output is controlling 5 channels of string samples in Ableton Live, which are then in turn routed into Katla.